Yo, what up? So I got home from work and I just crashed, dude. I fell asleep. Fell asleep last night at like 2:30. Slept coding and working on the channel and stuff and got carried away. Really, it's my own fault. But we're back here. Thanks, all right. Yeah.
Marty says, hey Mike.
Yo, what up, Marty? Welcome into happy late night to you. Is it morning for you? Is it morning for you? Or is it the late night? Let's go, hold on. Chat. This is virtual scene. No. Thought I had like a.
Marty says it's 1:23 a.m. Working on this leak problem.
Bruh, it's late for you, my guy. You're like me yesterday. We're chopped, man. Sleep schedule out of whack. Hold on. Let's go ahead and do a browser source. Strange. I thought I had this.
I'm just gonna be real here. Never watched much Luke Smith. I never really watched much YouTube. I'm not really a YouTube kind of guy. If I watch a little bit of YouTube, I used to watch Asmund Gold talk about video games. I don't know why. I just loved it when he talked about video games. And now I don't really watch much at all. So Luke has released a video for the first time.
Let's watch this, yeah? Maybe not this video specifically, but we'll just get a little video to watch while we program here. Let's watch a video while we code. Because we're iPad babies and we need entertainment. We need entertainment. What can we say? We're iPad babies. Come on. Let's pick a video though. Anybody have any good videos we should watch? I've been watching a lot of the stand-ups lately. I've kind of already watched them all. um, let's watch this one.
Marty says, Mike, have you done this problem before called number of island?
I've heard of it. I haven't done it before, I don't think. No. I usually try to avoid those matrix grid problems. I'm a cherry picker. What can I say? um, YouTube video. Okay.
What makes someone's work a work of art?
Art takes countless ideas.
You know, in the old days, they had like they had those wax
Marty
seals
says
they would
maybe
press
daily dose of
to like
internet.
seal a letter.
The signet ring
that's
of
like
approval.
yeah, right. It's like, you know, that they're like, oh, you gotta sign this.
Oh wait, why did I? Hold on. That's why I did this. Didn't do this last time. I'm being stupid. Hold on, you guys. I have this. Expand. Pop out window. There we go. Now hide that. That's why I got this extension. Now make this bigger. And now I can watch it too. What was I thinking? Come on, Mike. Don't be crazy. That's why I did that. Okay, now let's move this up here, and boom. There we go. Now I can watch too. Would you look at that? Yeah, I got this little Chrome extension where you can just have your browser pop out and float on top of everything. So it's like permanently on top. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. What am I doing? Okay, I think we're ready. Sorry. So I have a couple of things in mind I want to get goals. I kind of did some talking with GPT, as you can see here. Sorry if my energy's low too, guys. Dude, I'm beat. You guys, I stayed up way too late last night. And so, because of that, I'm cooked. Cooked, chat. Cooked. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and work on this. If you guys have any chats and want to talk to me about your projects, I'd love to hear about them. Let me know. I'm going to put on this video. Let me know how the audio is as well. Please, so we can enjoy it all together.
They had like they had those wax seals they would press to like seal a letter.
The signet
Well,
ring
that's
of
like
approval.
yeah, right. It's like, you know, that they're like, oh, you gotta sign
this
this
is called-
driver, or you gotta like authenticate this thing. Well, it's just gonna be an
what's wrong with
an
new
LLM
devs?
based butt print that you just like
What's wrong
sit
with
in
new
this like
devs that we're gonna
brown
watch
wax on the code, and then you know it's good.
You know, you could even take an offline verification approach as well. Like if you get creative with a little bit of wax, you could actually put
Yeah.
that on an envelope, and then someone would not only know that this
Yeah.
this envelope would just look like a weird imprint, like a balloon, but then at the end of
Yeah.
the day, you would actually be able to use an LLM to scan and be like, oh, this is a secret message from
yeah.
Casey.
Oh yeah, yeah. The watermark, my butt watermark, so that you know it's really from me. Tamper-proof butt watermark.
This is the most cursed conversation I've ever had in my entire lifetime.
I
This
aim
is
to
absolutely
please.
fantastic. Hey,
I am
the
pleased.
modern web is fantastic. Honestly,
It's
we have
very
butt
good.
marks now.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. It's only going to get better with AI generation.
It truly will only get better. There's no downsides and only upsides coming. All right, so I did want to talk about something a little bit more specific here, because I saw this tweet, and this tweet got people pretty hot and bothered on the
You took
internet.
JavaScript
Not only
bootcamp,
was
made a
I,
few web
but
apps
also
just
the
like
original creator
the
of said
tutorial
tweet was
showed you.
referred
Now
to
you're
as
writing
racist for making
engineer
this
in your
tweet, which is
bio.
pretty
You feel like an
outrageous.
imposter
Wait,
because
what?
you are one, brother.
Yeah, it happens, okay? These things happen on the internet. You know, if you Twitter hard enough, you'll be called, like, honestly, if you're not
Right.
getting called racist, you're probably not Twittering properly. And
Right,
so
you're not
Marty
tweeting
says, "What
often
are you
enough."
making,
you're
Mike?"
just not
That's
tweeting
funny.
often enough. That's all it is.
Well,
All right, so let me
we're
read the
doing a web scraper
tweet,
right now, but I'm
and then
going
we're gonna
to
let's talk.
revamp
I
the
have a couple
product
questions
here.
we'll kind of work through here. All right.
Class to be
You
a
took a
little bit more
JavaScript
robust.
bootcamp, made a few basic web apps like the tutorial showed you, and now you're writing engineer in your bio. You feel like an imposter
My hair's
because you are
crazy.
one, brother.
Okay.
Okay, first gut reactions. How do you feel about that?
I guess what I'd say is
Funny.
I understand where the tweet is coming from. It's pretty obvious why someone would be frustrated, perhaps, with the general level of knowledge of quote unquote software engineers nowadays. So I can understand why someone would post something like this. On the other hand, I guess it's just like, yeah, you know, when I make a tweet like that, because we've all made tweets like that,
Cody
I
says, "How long
probably
have
am
you
not
been
expecting
learning?"
everyone to just be like, great tweet, yeah, good contribution, right? I mean, because like there's nothing in it really, right? It's just saying, hey, software
teaching
engineers
myself for a
suck
little over a
nowadays. I'm
year.
like,
What's
yep,
going on? Look at
newsflash.
him.
So maybe so
Cody.
something I think is kind
You're
of
awesome,
an
my guy.
astute one
Thanks for the
is that
question.
right now you hear this a
How
lot
long
with
you been
people
learning?
feeling like they're imposters, right?
Right.
That they
Good
feel
info.
like they don't belong.
Right.
And so they have there's like this whole thing that's going on where people feel like they look at everyone else and therefore they're all better, and why aren't they better? Or it does the inverse, which is they have these constant memes on TikTok where the senior engineer goes to the junior, and the junior's like, I don't know what I'm doing, and then the senior engineer responds with, I don't know what I'm doing, and that gets like 1 million views and everyone likes it, which I think probably stems from this exact same thing. What do you think is a root cause of imposter syndrome, and do you think this actually is kind of a funny introspection into what is causing imposter syndrome?
So I've never really understood imposter syndrome in any deep way, and so I've always kind of had to imagine that, because I sure I have similar feelings, but they're not imposter syndrome. Like, I often constantly am like, wow, I am doing this thing that I'm doing better than I was doing it like last year, and I'm quite sure that in a year I'll be doing it completely differently and better than I'm doing it now. Ergo, right now I'm sucking. Right? Like just any honest examination of your trend line, I'm like, yep, right now I'm probably doing a number of things wrong that I will look back on in a year and go, well, that was dumb. And so I definitely understand the idea of looking and going, well, even if any honest appraisal of what I'm doing, even without any external evaluation, just looking at my own behavior, I can tell I'm screwing up, right? And that's just going to be true. So I understand the idea of going like, yeah, whatever I'm doing right now is not great. What I don't quite understand is the imposter syndrome part, because, like, sure, I could go online and find someone who's doing something better than me, but I can also go online and find people who have no idea what they're doing. So I'm not sure. It seems to me like people, when they have imposter syndrome, are perhaps being overly negative with their self-image, because they're choosing to compare themselves to good people instead of just comparing themselves to people who have no idea what they're doing. At worst, no matter how bad you are at anything, at worst, you can easily find someone else on the internet who's that bad, right? In that job. That's not that hard. So I think imposter syndrome is more a case of being unrealistic about your comparisons. You're choosing to compare yourself to someone really good and say, oh, I'm an imposter, I'm not that good. Okay. But instead, you should also consider, like, oh, but also I could go look at all these people, right? People who write books on software engineering who have clearly no idea what they're doing. You can go into the Barnes and Noble and find someone who has no business telling anyone anything about software engineering. They've got a book on the shelf. So what I try to tell people whenever they talk about imposter syndrome is like, look, feeling insecure or feeling like you don't know what you're doing is a natural part of learning. Being better at something tomorrow means internalizing the fact that you are bad at it today, right? And for me, I've been programming for 30 years, and I have never felt like I didn't get better year over year. And if I ever felt like I wasn't getting better year over year, I would panic, because it's like programming is immensely complicated and there's always something to learn. So I would say, like, look, imposter syndrome, turn it around. Just turn that into a motivation to get better, and don't worry about comparing yourself to other people, because it would have been just as easy to find some total loser who, like, sucks at programming and isn't getting any better because they just think they're great or something, as it is to find some really good programmer and compare yourself to them and think, oh, I'm bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's actually it's the classic problem I see often, which is people aren't sober in their own judgment. It's very, very easy to look at something you're good at and think you're very, very good at it. And then you realize you're not good at it, and it kind of like shatters your world, like your world perspective. And a good example of this is when I was a kid, I was really good at video games. I thought I was fantastic. I could beat Battletoads. Few people could ever even beat Battletoads, let alone I could speedrun it. And then I started playing other games. And then the internet happened. And I learned something very, very valuable that day. I'm very good at video games. But the internet
Which
is
is
very,
fair.
very good at video games. And my realization of what is good is
we're gonna
severely
have a
skewed.
source now,
And so
right?
the difference between me, yes, I
That's
also
something
could
I
beat
wanna
Contra. I
add
beat Contra
here.
several times. The difference between what is good versus what is absolutely good is a huge gulf. And if you ever just sit there in your own bubble thinking you're fantastic, you will eventually meet someone that breaks your bubble, and then you go, man, okay, I'm actually not that good. There's plenty of levels left to become better. And so
Okay,
I
so
just need to
then also
internalize that. And I
now-
also, like you, don't take things in the negative perspective,
this.
in the sense that when I see that I have a deficiency, that means there is a solution out there that the deficiency goes away. And I need to figure out how to get rid of that deficiency, because that is just like, it's actually, usually I take it as like a huge win, because now I see something I'm not good at. Now I have a chance to improve that thing if I so choose to. Whereas if you just
Okay,
never even know
so
about it, you don't
to make
even
a
get the
product
chance
here,
to try to become better.
we
And so,
can
I mean,
give
this
it
is personally why I
for
actually
those
really
person
liked this
ID,
tweet,
you have
is because
title,
like people have
size,
to quit, like they have to quit
condition,
like they
brand,
need to realize that
description,
just because you did one thing
clothing
and you read a
type.
tutorial, it doesn't mean you're the thing. You can be on the way to the thing, and you should feel like you're not as good because you aren't good. Like, that's okay not being good. Like, take a moment to recognize the situation. And
You
if
have
you
a
don't,
cost
you're just
of
going to be in this
good,
like you'll never reach a point
source.
where you feel good. You will always feel
Marty says it's
perpetually terrible
ridiculous
'cause you
what
never
Chat
learn to
5
soberly
can do
judge.
in 15 seconds, lol.
Yes, and I guess what I would say is, you know, the problem with the tweet
Yeah,
in this
right?
case,
Then that's
it being a tweet, which is, you know, designed for this sort of thing, and in fact reinforces this sort of thing. Like if she had posted what I had just said, for example, like, oh, imposter syndrome is a good example of
Okay,
how
so
you
then we
can be
have-
self-reflective and go, oh, that means I'm bad at this thing. Don't take it as a negative. Take it as an opportunity
info
for you to
is
get better at
sold
the
as
thing that you're
boost.
doing. No one's going to retweet that. It's not going to have
So we're gonna say
5.2 thousand
listing,
likes and 600
okay.
retweets, right?
Yeah.
You have to have, so
Acquisition
one
info,
thing that
so we
I've learned,
have
and it's really
source.
disgusting and
This is gonna be,
disheartening to me,
um,
is that if I post something that's a complete answer to something, it's like,
Acquisition
here is
day.
a very
Oliver
like in-depth description
4821
of
says,
something that
hello,
completely covers
again,
it, and
I
there's
Yo,
haven't
what
really
up,
been here
dude?
for a
left to
while.
say. Here you go. No one cares about that, right? That is not interesting. What you need
Access
to post
hello.
is something ambiguous and slightly
Welcome.
incendiary. And that is what will get all of the attention, right? And it's very unfortunate because it means that is
Okay, so
this is actually the kind of tweet that it will get you more exposure and will get you more followers and all that sort of thing. And so you're always caught in this sort of nasty space on places like Twitter where, you know, you kind of gotta do what this tweet is doing. So I, you know, at some level I'm like, yeah, you know, she could have posted a tweet that was like more
Okay,
complete
so
and had more of the story,
you have
and
acquisition date,
also
date.
no one would have read that tweet.
We would not be
Right.
here today talking
Hold
about
on
it.
here.
It is a
Exactly.
very a perverse
it's
incentive.
listing
I've also
date. This is
definitely
gonna
seen
be
that if I
a
tweet with a more
date.
negative one, I will get more interaction. And so I kind of realized that. And also, one thing I've also found is that I don't want to say it's like the Andrew Tate of, but like very red pill, take control of your destiny tweets
Let me grab
also
some
work
water
in
real
that
quick.
exact same fashion. And so there is like two ones, but they have to be super terse, like you said, and almost incendiary to some sort of level, right? You either have to have the, you know, high red pill or pretty negative, like some sort of incendiariness to make it go far, which is really just a bad way to communicate in general.
Yeah, it disincentivizes good communication, and
Okay,
part of the reason
so
for that is because if
title,
you think about what the
size,
audience
condition,
is for a
brand,
tweet,
description, clothing type,
there's like two components,
cost
right,
of
of
good,
things that spread
source,
on social media.
acquisition
There's
date.
what is the
Okay, sub
potential
price, total
total
price,
like largest possible
and then
audience for this
Depop.
tweet.
Okay, so listing
Right? And like when we
information.
talk about
Some more
programming
here.
stuff, obviously that's,
I have
you
some
know,
more
limited
notes
audience
here.
to
So
begin
listing
with, right?
information I want to
Like, you're not
include
gonna hit
is-
niche of a niche.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Prime. You're not gonna hit Kim Kardashian.
So I'm going
numbers.
to I
I
think
wish you
change
would.
this up and
Right?
make
I love the
this.
show, but it's just not going to happen. Why? Because people look at a screen full of code stuff and they're like, I don't know what it is. Drooling now, I look away, right, or whatever. But so
Access, what are
there's
you
there's
making?
you know, some maximum audience size, and then there's also just whether or not someone will feel the need to participate. And when you look at those two things, they argue for ambiguity on the
is-
one hand, because the total audience
I'm trying
size,
to
the
think
more
of how I can
specific
do
you are,
this.
the easier it is for someone
it
to
going,
realize
AKS?
that they aren't really interested
Working
in
on
that
our
tweet.
product class
Like,
here, trying
if I
to
talk
make it a
about
little bit more
clean
robust.
code, for example, which
So I can
one
really
of
kind
my
of track
largest
some more
videos I ever did
information
was on that.
as we scrape our page.
Why
I'll show
does
you
that
guys the
massively
scraper in
expand the
just a
audience size?
second. We've
Because
kind of finished
everyone
it. For
thinks
the most part, we
they
can get
have
the
something to
images.
say about that. It's the most
But I'm
ambiguous
trying
word
to
you can
kind of
use.
get a little bit
Do you
more
mean clean
info
code the book? Do you mean the principles of clean code? Do you mean what you
and kind of figure
personally
this out
think
that
of
way.
as code that is
So
good? Every programmer on Earth thinks they have something to say about clean
I'm gonna
code. So
pause
the
this
audience
really
size.
quick. Okay, so we have acquisition info, cost of good. Okay, so um, so this is internal ID, right? And so then we're gonna have internals. So then we have status, which is going to be of type stir. Okay, so you have to give a status. Okay, so we have status. Okay, so depop information. You have a sold it for this much. Any sub price, total price. So any, so then we have, I guess, we can calculate a fee. We don't need to have that be an attribute. Or we'll say platform fee. No. Okay, so product, so pricing info. So let's say disc, so sub price we. How should we do these pricings? So we have, I have sticker price, what we sold it for. Sticker price, what we sold it for. Then do I need to include a breakdown of anything else? Or should I just do properties for all the other information thereof? Like the, but
Kisley says shut down the stream.
what? Shut down the stream. Weird. What are you doing? Get off of that, kitty. Kitty like sitting on my stuff. Okay, so sub price, total price. I think it's fine for right now, I guess. I don't think it's really that big of a deal.
Slow says WSG.
Yo, slow. All right, let's keep going here. So what other information I have? Status, title, size, condition, brand, description, clothing type. Okay, good. Now when we acquire it, when I get an item, when I go buy it, we have a cost associated with it. The cost of the item. right? A cost of the item. We have a source where we got it from. We have
Slow
a
says
date that we
Kisley
got it.
Potter never.
So, and then pricing. So we gave our sticker price. So listing info. Should that be in listing info? Pricing. Sale date, sale price. Ooh. So sub price, total price. I'm gonna go, this is gonna be sticker price. So sticker. Oh, let's see that sub price, it's fine, whatever. So I'm going to add though on the listing info. So listing date. Listing price. I'm not gonna really do that. Sale price, sale date. So listing date. Sale date. We want a listing date, a sale date. We want a sale platform. Just going to stir. Right, we're gonna sale platform, listing date, sale date, sold, sold boolean, right? So we'll say shipping cost. I'm not gonna really worry about that right now.
Oliver 4821 says, do you ever use camel case?
Not really, I usually just use snake case. Okay. So now let's assign these.
Prism says hello Nate.
Hey Prism, how's it going, dude? Okay, so we got a status that we need to add in here. So we'll go self.status. Is equal to check status on status. Else.
Prism says I was busy back few days. What are you working on? Prism says currently. Slow says snake case is idiomatic Python.
So we're gonna write this check status function. So let's write this. Let's say def check status, given a status. This is going to be a static method, right? This is going to be a string, and we're going to return the said string that is approved, right? So if status in I'm gonna go, actually let's make this a class method. I'm gonna add in a statuses spell statuses. Statuses. Is that even a word? Statuses. Status plural. Statuses. What? That just looks so terrible. Status of English be derping. We're gonna do let's do a set of statuses, and then this is what we'll do is we'll say inventory. We'll say what are our statuses? Obviously there's sold status, right? But what is our in between? Like listed? Inventory, listed, and sold. Available. Right? Inventory just means that it's just like, and I guess we'll say not available, just like, but inventory means that maybe we adopt, I don't know, just for, okay, so we'll keep that there. I need the class here. Right. And class dot statuses. Return status. Raise. We'll say product error. We gotta change this to product, right? We'll say status, invalid status. Invalid. Class dot statuses. Price must be posted. just say if it's not, and I'll raise this value here just to keep it consistent with what we did before. Okay, so that'll check the status. Let's see. Yeah, just don't think the static method doesn't use the class method. Okay. If you guys are here, leave a like, leave a like, leave a like. Let's continue on with our video here.
Size is the maximum size, right? And then there's the other part. Do I think I should participate in this? Again, if I talk about quaternions, no one will reply because everyone's like, I have 40 math. I don't know what. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Forget it. Right?
Three
You
of them
talk
are
about-
imaginary. It's fake or whatever.
Forget it. What is an I?
Okay,
What's an
so
I?
then
Now there's a J and a K. The hell
Yeah.
with this. You delete. Whereas on the other hand, if you talk about clean code, everyone thinks they know something
Yeah.
about clean code. The worst program in the world would love to tell me how I'm wrong about clean code, right?
Good code.
So when you combine those two things together, that's how
I
you
can't really focus with the video going. It's distracting. I move a lot faster without it, you guys. Okay, so we check the status. Make sure it's of one of those options. I'll just none.
Mayank says hello, sir.
Okay, so how's it going, dude? Welcome in, Mayank. Appreciate you coming in. What you been working on lately? Okay, so can you guys think of any other information we want to capture for this product off that you guys just said? I'm using a lifeline, calling out to chat. Any other information for a product that we might want to capture? So cost of good we need to include, right? So let's do this. Right, so cost of good. Self.check price will float cost of good if else none, right? So now we got that one. So source okay. So we'll take us, we get the source, now acquisition date. This is just a mess. I might need to go through and organize this. Self.acquisition date is equal to we're going to go check date given the acquisition date, right? If acquisition date, else none. So we're going to write a check date function here. So this will be a static method here. Oh my god. So I guess we're going to make this be a string, rather. Right. So we'll check the date. Okay, so what we'll say is we're going to return a datetime.date object. Yeah. So given the date, first we're going to say if is instance date, we'll type stir. If not is instance, we're going to raise a value error, which is going to be a product error. We'll say date equals to date invalid must be a string. Date must be a string. Okay. Else, we're going to say datetime dot how do you do the, oh shoot.
Get the biggest possible tweet or the biggest possible video. And it's unfortunate because it's not that useful for the world. Like, that's just not. So, you know, that's why I don't do a ton of them. I mean, that's the formula. Hey, everyone out there, you want to have a bunch of hit videos? There you go. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, sorry to go on a tangent here. We can go back to this tweet because there's plenty of things we can say about this tweet specifically, sir.
It's actually really well. Hold on, I do want to say there is good in that, and you know I've been known to use this technique or two to garner some interactions, but then it allows for this type of talking to happen, which is one of I'd say the inverse benefit or inverse negativities for this one, if you will. Like really put a double negative on that one. It turns it into a positive because now we get the chance to talk about this, and there's been a large enough amount of people that people want to interact with this topic because of a tweet like this. And so I like it as a springboard, which is it's almost an interesting way to like get someone engaged enough so that they feel like they need to respond, only to give them like the old reversal where they feel confused because you just hit them with what they didn't expect.
So in a sense, you're sort of saying that this is like a forest fire. It's extremely scary when it happens and people die and houses are burned, but afterwards, after a while, the beautiful trees regrow again and there's like a new lush forest.
This one is
Yeah, I wouldn't have put it that way with death and
string
sadness.
format time.
Like we are the beautiful new trees right now. You and me, we are the beautiful lush forest rising out of the charred remains of this tweet. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, we are.
Okay, totally fair. I can be that.
Time.
I'll be a beautiful butterfly gently landing on a log.
Okay, lovely. A charred, horrifying log that also is part of a house.
Yes, potentially. There's like a little stuffed animal from a child that like just charred on the ground there. Never will be loved again.
The daytime stream.
All right, so let's
Dave.
let's swivel a little bit.
And the format
What
we're
do you
gonna
think
do
about the
is-
current
so this
state
format
of
here, I think it's,
the
what,
influx of
percent
new engineers into?
year?
I mean, really, it's primarily into I think the web world. I think there's just a high enough
Dash
barrier into, say, the
percent
recreational hardware world that they
month.
often don't immediately call themselves a professional and try to go get a job in that area. They kind of, they're just a recreational hardware person. They don't really have pursuits or ambitions of
Is it
becoming a
this?
full-time hardware person. Whereas with web development, the purpose I only see is, I mean, few people I find actually do pursue they pursue just building something. They learn web development as an incidental to like make something. But most people are learning it to get a job, to improve their life. And we're seeing like this huge glut of new people coming in, having a hard time finding a job and all that. What do you think is like the best from 0 to 60 for them to become an employable, productive member, if you will, of the web community and or greater programming community?
Oh gosh, I mean,
I say it's
I think unfortunately I would say my experience over the past like 10 years or so, based on everything I've heard, being an unfortunately semi-public programming persona means you get a lot. You hear, I mean, I'm sure you know this. You hear a lot of things from people that sort of inform your understanding of what's going on in the wider programming world, right? And if I just go based on that, I would say that there's a unfortunate split difference, tension, I'm not sure what the right word is, between becoming a good programmer and getting a job or keeping a job, right? I would say my biggest criticism is really has very little to do with the people. Like I wouldn't say that my concerns about modern programming or my concerns about the state of the industry have much to do with like new programmers, like people coming in who are new web programmers or trying to get a job or that sort of thing. My concern is more that we have
BK
generally
Vyasa
set up
says,
an
"Hey, man."
industry where
be
that
restrained.
procedure, meaning getting a new job or keeping a job or getting promoted at a web company, or just, we could say broadly, a tech job, because most of them are going to be in that sort of a line of work. The things you are expected to do, know, say, or how you're supposed to behave have very little to do with good programming, in my experience. They tend to have more to do with, like, do you have the ability to check off some boxes? Like, I know these weird frameworks that'll be gone in 6 months. They tend to be about things like, do you know how to use, Jira? Do you know what a Scrum meeting is, or something like that? Do you want to sit in code reviews all day and talk about, whether or not you should have had an if statement here, things like that. And so I would say that, maybe that's a skewed perspective, and I'm hearing those things from people and they're not really true, right? It's like it's a distorted picture of the world, because, I mean, how should I know? I'm not out there in an entry-level job or something like that. But on the other hand, if it was true, I think that environment and that sort of things, or also I'll add to that, what you're taught in CS classes, object-oriented programming, things like this, the things they focus on, what's supposed to be important, they're just not any of the things that I associate with good programming, or that I see the people who I respect as great programmers doing, right? And so, to me, I would say, I don't know where to approach a question like this. Like, you took a JavaScript boot camp, like, whoever Annie is said in this tweet, right? Well, like, I mean, to wrap my big rambling response I just said up into a very short sentence, well, why isn't the Java boot camp great? Like, why doesn't that teach you the right things to put you on a path to being a great programmer? Why do we have Java boot camps JavaScript boot camps that don't do that, right? And so to me, I think it's more an industry failing. And I don't look at the entry-level programmers as the problem. I look at them and their trajectory as a symptom of our problem as an industry.
Oh, hold on. I'll say this.
Interesting. Okay, then follow-up question.
Format.
What is a solution?
Attempts.
To
A
this?
solution would be
let's do a tuple.
The
of
solution, as it
strings.
really only could be, is
let's
if we
do-
had a concerted cultural shift. Right.
Let's bring back
In
our
the old days, if you
F,
rewind the clock
so
back
S
far enough,
strings.
computers were
This is gonna
primitive
be cool.
and
Watch this, you
slow
guys.
to the
Hey,
point
BK, what's going on, my
where
guy?
you
I messaged
couldn't
you back
not
on LinkedIn. I said, what's
be
up?
doing real programming. You
so we'll
had
say
to basically tie what you did to what the computer was doing, because
year,
if there was a disconnect
percent
between those two
year,
things, your software either would not really
percent
run at all or
month,
would run so slow as to be unusable, right? And over
percent
time,
day.
basically what we've done is we've gotten
Okay.
into a point where computer hardware is so immensely powerful that even though it's kind of crappy and it's buggy
then I'm
and
gonna
it's
copy
very
this.
like it's laggy, it takes 2 seconds. I click on a web page and I'm waiting a little bit. It
Okay,
still
and then I'm
works
gonna
well
do-
enough that you
you
can
can
make a
do,
product out of it. If you don't really have any competitors who are shipping like really good stuff, you can do that. And so you look at the
month,
web, there were really no competitors for anything.
day,
Every little thing you do, you're like the first
year.
person there, right? And so as a result, you're just in this situation where culturally, there really isn't much of a knowledge of what programming actually has to be to produce high quality,
Right.
low bug count, high
Then we'll
performance
say-
software. As a result, all of the things we've generated as common core practices
can
over the
do-
past 10, 15, 20 years are all completely fictional.
This one.
None of them are grounded in actually
Or you can
measurable
do-
real world performance or low bug rate gains.
This
And the
one.
way you know that is use any piece of software.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go on any piece of modern software. I don't care what it is.
Month,
QuickBooks,
day, year with slashes.
QuickBooks is
G-
notorious for
Okay.
this, by the way.
Gmail, like just naming
I'll
massive pieces of
say-
software that everyone in the world uses. The
For
GitHub.
attempt
I don't care what it is.
and
If only there was
They're-
a piece of software in the background that we could even say has bugs from time to time.
format
There you go,
attempts.
right? And you look at all these things and you're like, if any of these software practices were actually good, this software would be high quality. It's not doing very much, right? QuickBooks is a freaking spreadsheet. It's a glorified spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It's something
We're
we've known
going
how to
to
do since the
say-
1970s,
We're
right?
going to say
And so, I think
try
that, again, it's like
to
we have to get back to
a
that if we
date
want things to improve.
object
The bad news is, again, without more competition,
is equal to
there's not that much
a
incentive.
date time.
What's the incentive to improve? What's the incentive
Dot
for QuickBooks to improve? You need a bunch of QuickBooks
Stir-
competitors that are baller. And
stir
unfortunately,
P
that's a really,
time.
when you look at the effects
put
of
the
like
date,
lock-in and state
We're
and
gonna
all
put
of
the
these things,
attempt here.
incumbents stay around for a long time
We're gonna
in the way the
say
world works now.
except for
So it's
a
kind of,
value
it's a little
error,
bit late.
we're
And
going
so,
to
yeah, how do we fix it?
continue.
Prime, I don't know. If I knew how to convince people to start taking more responsibility for the quality of the software,
Right.
believe me, I would have done it.
And
I
then
have
if
no
you
idea.
get
Do you
through
have
this,
an
we're
answer?
gonna
I would
raise
love
a
to know.
value error.
If someone
Still
did.
say
We have this thing that we've been saying a lot on my particular team that I'm on, which is we need to create a culture of performance. And
Yeah.
we mean that in the sense of being able to write high reliability, creamy smooth
okay,
feeling
so if
experiences.
you got if you
And so
get
that's
the
like
date
this
object
whole kind
out
of mantra
here,
we've been having, because there's this internal problem where you can't pass CI without running it 3 times, just due to
Okay.
reliability.
Okay.
When I got onto a project,
Oh,
there was
God.
less than 1/9 of reliability internally, meaning that it was like at 83% of the time
want
your
to-
test would
Okay.
run successfully. And that's not just because people are uploading bad code, it's just because like device reservation failed.
Should I
Another
keep it
part
as
of
a
it
datetime
failed.
object or
Installing the
return
correct
the
version
date?
of
Yeah.
of our platform failed. Restarting the thing failed. Like there's so many different places in which something failed, and all of a sudden
If
you have this like
date
completely
object.
unreliable platform that is going on, and no one has a good solid reason as to why or
Return
how
date
frequent and what this
object.
does to developers. And then on top of it, measuring performance in a
Date.
real way is extremely difficult, because if you just go with something like Puppeteer, is you also have to say you have to run the WebSocket
raise the
connection
value error
from
and
your
say-
tester to the testee to try to get it back out, unless if you're exposing like underlying V8 ones, but then that doesn't work on all platforms, and then you can't, there's all these like problems about trying to measure this stuff from happening. And so just trying to build this idea that we're a performance first place and we're doing it within the company is starting to kind of change some mindsets. How can we make things better? Like, how is this not
Yeah, return
number
the
one
date
priority?
time. Do I
And
return
it should
the date
always
time
have been
object?
number one priority, because it ultimately makes the best experience. Because let's just face it, when I go into my living room and I turn on Amazon Prime because I'm renting a movie and I
New
press
date
the search
person
button, I
stream.
get search anxiety. every single
God.
time because I know I'm about to use an on-screen keyboard, and this is going to be the slowest, most painful experience of my lifetime. And every time it loads videos, I know I got a 1.5 second wait. Every time I press down, I know I got a half, 3/4 of a second wait.
It's
And I have to like
it's
count
insane.
in my head, 1, 2, 3.
Like daytime person
Yep.
stream like daytime.
And
Yep.
you're like, all right,
Yep.
got it. You know, like, dude, I overshoot
bet
it, I
I, like,
undershoot
fall
it, like I'm
asleep
just like,
because of
I literally start sweating when I know I have to use an on-screen keyboard, and it's like,
Jeez.
we gotta fix that. And so it's been this
This
kind
chair
of
is
mantra,
uncomfy,
but I
you
don't know
guys.
if
You
it's
guys gotta,
actually fixable because you still have to convince everybody else that once you
We gotta do
hit
some
this
super
plateau of like
chats
it's
so
starting
we
to get
can,
better,
get a new
that you
gamer
can't stop
chair,
there.
'cause this
like you can't stop
is
at the good
not
enough.
working.
Like you have to keep going. And that's where I find the hardest part to be, is that you will make some sort of milestone. And when you make that milestone, everyone quits trying. They just turn off. They're just gone, right? And that's I find to be the hardest part about doing a culture change.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I really don't. One of the things that's really interesting to me and that I think is scary is, so I think it would be one thing if the people who made that Amazon search thing were like, well, that was horrible. And we never, like, that was a huge colossal mistake. Like, and everyone was fired.
Slow
and
says
right, or
standing
whatever,
desk
right?
when.
But actually, what I encounter the majority of the time is like this excuse parade, is the term I usually use for it, where people try to explain to me that, like, I just don't understand that the Amazon search bar, like 1.5 seconds is like a really reasonable number for like how long it takes you to type in a letter, right? And so I think like one easy step we could make in the culture is if we could somehow get programmers to realize that anything that doesn't run at least at 60 frames per second on modern hardware is probably just garbage. Modern hardware, even your Roku box, is so incredibly powerful compared to anything that a search box needs to do. And the internet is so incredibly fast. Like the ping times from most people's internet, even in rural America, is such that you should
It's like
be
100
able...
milliseconds is like tops I've seen.
100 milliseconds is 10 frames a second, people. You're getting your results back in 10
Brandio
frames a second,
123
okay?
says,
The
cheap
results are
viewers
coming
on
back at that speed.
streamview.com. Remove the space.
And so when you
Higgs3
think about it in
BMQ.
those terms,
bots.
where like really everything should be
Not
running
the
at 60
bots.
frames a second, and at most there should be 100 milliseconds of delay on anything that really can't be cached locally. Like it's like it literally has to go out for some reason. That means 10 frames a second for the most latent response,
so
and 60 frames a second of graphical update while that's happening is...
So we check the date. If it's not a string, we say it must be a string. We have formatted tips. We have 4 formatted tips where you have year first, month first, year first, month first. Sorry, Europeans, where we don't have the date first. So let's return the date time object. Right.
BK Vyasa says Manure tried.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired. Okay, so I'm not moving as fast today, huh? So we raise the value error. We'll say product error. We'll say date. Invalid. And then we'll say valid date.
Slow says stand coding at 11 p.m.
Format attempts. Yeah, I know, right? We're dedicated to the cause here. For real. We need Someone hire us ASAP. We'd be like the perfect startup junkie, right? We'd be the perfect startup worker. We don't stop, dude. Too bad that startup we interviewed for didn't want me. No. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna take this and see what if it likes it. Trying to decide whether you're in the date or the object. Depends on how you want to use the check date method downstream. Return the date time.date only, and the main concern is just the calendar date without needing the time information. The returning date makes sense. Consistent with your function annotation. No hidden time data. So your attributes, date listing. Cleaner. Check date returns the time date. Let's see what it says. If not raised, production date must. Date formats.
BK Vyasa says, oh damn voice thing.
For yeah, voice thing. For attempted attempts. Oh, so it returns the datetime object just right here in the okay. I don't know if you wanted to do that directly in the try, but okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. So that's that function wrote. Let's go get add add new feature, add product features. Push that up. Stretching here. Everything good? Make sure nothing's stretching.
BK Vyasa says this is the first voice that called my name correctly.
BK Vyasa. Nice. Okay, so we're gonna do self.check date. I'm gonna give it this check status and see what it likes about if it likes this one. A method checks whether status exists in a class. The status is exciting. So we're gonna say let's strip that lower. I guess we'll say if status if is Okay. So that'll check the status. Okay, we got that one. Check status. Size. Condition. Brand. Description. Clothing type. BRC ID. Yeah, I do. So I'm gonna go import from gen item number, import load used item numbers, and import all. Okay, so what I'm going to do is for the sorry, where were we? God, come on, dude. Else, right, it's not none. You can't have a none for BRC ID. Else, we're gonna go check ID. No. So the ID is going to be given. Now, if I give none, right, if I leave it absent, oh no, I'm having to give it. So we'll say it's going to be self dot check ID, check BRC ID, if BRC ID, else we're going to generate item number. So generate item number generates an item number, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to paste it here, back this up, okay, so hold on. So let me save this. Let me see. This is called generate VRC ID. Alright. So we're going to import all from gen item number. So I'm going to call generate brcid here, which will open up this file path, which is in server/gen. So we need to make that, so we'll go here. So we'll generate a new item number. We'll check the ID. So this will keep going until you get one. BRCID, if else generate BRCID. Okay. So then listing date. Sold date. Sale or sold? Kind of sale. What's a sold date? Sold platform. Right. Self dot list date. Alright, so self dot list date. We're gonna self dot check date on the list date. If list date, else none. Sold date. And then sold platform. Equals to self dot check sold platform. Right. If sold right. So we'll say, and then we'll define this as a static method. It's gonna be similar to this guy actually. So it's check sold platform, given the sold platform, right? Or I say product say sold platform. say sold platform equals to this invalid. Sold platform must be type string. I'll take the sold platform. Okay, so okay, nice. So now I'll go here. Platforms is gonna be Instagram, GitHub, in person, other. Let's say dance. Okay, we're gonna say in person. Okay, we're gonna say what's the info? Buyer, stir, or none. So buyer, stir, none. So yeah. Okay. Okay, and then self.images equals to images if images else. No self platform. If self platform. Check platform. Not that it even is any, but it can be none. If sold and so if sold and sold platform offline if it's sold and there is a sold platform. But you don't know if it's sold yet, actually. Okay, we're gonna give quite a prompt here. Let's get some feedback. Oh, this is So if self BRC ID, if there is a BRC ID, else. So it says we're gonna hash the BRC ID if there is a BRC, else ID needs to keep ID. Why should I hash? What am I doing underneath this? Self dot dput mean none. But self dot this will generate a BRC ID, which we'll call this method, which will open this file path, load the numbers, generate an item number. Yeah, I want to. So we are accounting for all of the things, which is good. Product robust. Push that up. What's going on, you guys? Okay. Probably want to open them all up initially. And do this. Open. Let's save on this. Probably what we should do. We should go load them. The gen item number, we have load here, which is returning a set of all unique item numbers. We should probably run this at the beginning of the function program, the scrape. I'll run this for you guys so you can see what's happening. So this is our scraper. No, we have type errors. Right, we're missing all this information. Oh, the init. The init, if not equal none. Sounds like you're running the Python in a default argument if the var is not none. Interesting. It found them all. So I say if title gotcha. So on the Depop scrape then let's go down here. Creating a product. We're updating the product information here. No, we want to go down to this one here. Check response. Creating a product. Here. So what else do we have? Title. Subprice. We need 8, so status equals to quote so we'll say if equals to so this has well this will be sold if product index of sold else available sold is true, right? Cost of good equals to none. Source equals to none. Acquisition date equals to none. List date equals to none. Sold date temp for right now. Sold platform equals to Depop if product sold else none. Images okay. Oh. So can I go to date? cipher hash should return an integer. Type error. Hash has to return an integer. So that's why we're hashing the product. Brody rows close. Got you. That makes sense. If it has to return an integer, there's alphanumeric, so we have to hash that. There we go. Product has an attribute dpop ID. That's right. And so this generated some used item numbers. Okay, so then we'll say we need to go here. Okay, so let's say use load use item numbers. Okay, good. Okay, that worked. Let's go load use item numbers. Good. So then what we'll say is that when we create this, right, we're going to say brcid is none. Perfect. Here. And then when we go into here and do the parse even further for more information, parse out the brcid here and put it in. So we'll say that's fine. So now it should work though. Found 96, found 120, found 144, 168, 192, 216, 240, 264, and 284. Boom. Scroll complete. Loading products 1 of 6, 4 of 6, 5 of 6. Boom, 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 boom. And there's all the information. Perfect. That is really awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Sold false, all of them are not sold yet. All of them has their IDs extracted, sizings, perfect. It would take about, for the 284 items, I did some math extrapolation here, as you can see, with some dates, with some Python time module offline last night. And it would take about 212 seconds to run the entire script across all 200 items. So, a couple minutes. Not terrible, not the best. I think I have a remedy for this. So, we're gonna explore that tomorrow, I think. My idea for
Slow
it.
says, damn, your terminal shows emojis.
Yeah, VS Code shows emojis, I guess. I don't know. It's just VS Code.
Slow says, on Windows, I don't think mine does that.
Just Mac things. MacV. Oh yeah, it's Mac. Probably. Mac is really good with the emoji stuff.
H4X33V says import random. Shoodle tree. C. Windows System 32. If random 1 10 equals 1 else none.
So my idea is, I'll show you guys. So currently, right, what we're doing is we're opening up the page and we're parsing the Depop here. And we're getting out from the public-facing data, or what's currently available to us with the lack of an API, we're getting from the HTML, not from the HTML, but from a public-facing API, we're intersecting the network response that Depop is sending.
Slow says, H4X33V nice try.
We are right, so what's going on is that it's going through and it's intercepting.
PJ says you.
Hey PJ, it's intercepting the network response that was being sent, the package for all the JSON. And so we're intercepting that, and we are taking it, basically, we're just grabbing a copy of it from the middle as it's being sent over. And we're parsing out all of what you see here. Now, the only thing that's annoying is that these kind of preview things, they lack information. So they don't have like the size, they don't have the condition, they don't have the title. They just have these preview pictures, and I think all the other pictures as well are preloaded, as well, and just the pricing, right? And then the description is included in the package. So we're having to go through and click on individual items and extract out their information. Now I sped that up, right? So we have two processes. One, while we scroll, we get the initial grouping, right? So here in this one, this check responses, we get for the responses, each response, we get a product, and then we add it to our set, right? We add it to our set, and we use that way it does it based off of the Depop ID. So Depop is numbers with the same Depop ID aren't duplicated into the set, which is really cool. And so then what happens is, because we set up the hash and the EQ for the set objects to go into a set, rather, if that makes sense. I'm tired. Anywho, so what's going on is then we are filling out a product struct object for what we have so far, and then we're going into each product page asynchronously and filling out the rest of the information from it, right? So what I could do is I could increase, right? I could increase the amount of asynchronous tasks that are happening at once. So I could say, okay, let's do 10 pages or 15 pages at once, right? That would increase it probably pretty drastically. It'd probably cut this in half to 100 seconds, right, if we double it. But we're going to get probably hit with some bot detections and stuff if we start really throttling their servers with 10 requests at once, 15 requests at once. It's, not realistic for a human to do that. So we don't want to do too much, but we don't want to do too little to where it's too slow. Now, there is a way we can combat this, and we were kind of using an approach already to do this, but I'll shout out Aurorasaur from the Discord. He had the similar idea, is that what if we, because right now we're using a structure within our description to insert the Birdie Rose Clothes item number so that links back to the system. Because when you post an item to the Depop, it doesn't know what actually item that is from the system unless we put in there some sort of descriptor so we can link it back to our system. So now the initial parser, from the interception of the network response, right? The initial run, the first portion, this one does get the description of the item. It does get the description. We could add this at this point. And so what I think we're going to have to do is add it at this point rather than going in at each individual um, each individual um, each individual product page, right? We don't have to go into each one individually or asynchronously with groupings. We could instead just use a template structure within our descriptions, like we're doing for the item numbers, but also include the size, the condition, the brand, the and a lot of other information, right? That's missing from that initial page, right? If we instead put into here, if we put in the description not only the item number, but the size, the condition, the brand, and all that information, and the title as well, if we kind of duplicate the information, we can parse it out of this string paragraph and avoid having to go to the page at all. Now, I think we still get the pictures from the other thing, from the network response, so I think it would work. Um, Now we would just have to make sure that our sizings and stuff match up with Depop, and we'd have to, this just relies on the user to appropriately write in their whatever, but or we could even make it so that, like, I even have this envisioned idea where my girlfriend, when she buys an item, she could open up this kind of forum and just jot in the necessary information, and a description is auto generated. You do put in a description of the item, right? Of an 80s vintage baseball tee, what it is, like a short phrase. But then an actual description is generated, and that in that template structure automatically with just strings really easily with Python, and we could automatically just assign that as the description of the item. And so we could have it be formatted automatically based on just form inputs, so there is no having to go through and copy the template and whatnot. What do you guys think about that? But I will leave you guys with that thought for tonight. I didn't think I was going to even stream today, so lucky you guys. I got home from work, and as soon as I hit the couch, I crashed. But I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. We're going to lower the thing. Ooh. I'm going to go to bed. You guys have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow, where we'll continue on with our project. We still need to go do the MIT problem set. I just haven't gotten around to that yet, as I've been really focused on grinding through the project here. But anywho, thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye guys, have a great night. See you.